Ethiopia, a nation steeped in history and tradition, has long grappled with a geographical dilemma. It is landlocked. This reality became starkly apparent in 1993 with the independence of Eritrea. Eritrea, once a province of Ethiopia, gained its sovereignty after a protracted and bloody struggle. With its departure, Ethiopia lost its entire Red Sea coastline, severing its direct access to the sea. This event marked a turning point in Ethiopia's history, forcing it to navigate the complexities of being a landlocked nation in the Horn of Africa. The loss of its coastline had profound implications for Ethiopia's economy and international trade. Reliant on imports and exports, Ethiopia found itself at the mercy of its neighbors for access to the sea. This dependence on others for such a vital aspect of its economic well-being created vulnerabilities and challenges that have persisted to this day. The quest for secure and reliable port access has become a defining feature of Ethiopia's foreign policy. Ethiopia's landlocked status has not diminished its strategic importance in the Horn of Africa. The nation remains a key player in regional affairs, with its political stability and economic potential holding significant weight. However, the lack of direct access to the sea continues to pose logistical and economic hurdles, hindering its full potential. The search for viable and sustainable solutions to this geographical constraint remains an ongoing endeavor. Following Eritrea's secession, Ethiopia turned to its small neighbor Djibouti as its primary gateway to the sea. Djibouti, strategically located on the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, became Ethiopia's lifeline. Nearly all of Ethiopia's imports and exports flowed through the port of Djibouti, making it a critical artery for the landlocked nation's economy. This heavy reliance, however, came at a price. The dependence on a single port through Djibouti exposed Ethiopia to vulnerabilities. Any disruption to the smooth flow of goods through Djibouti, whether due to political instability, infrastructure bottlenecks, or external shocks, could have a crippling effect on Ethiopia's economy. This vulnerability underscored the need for diversification and the exploration of alternative access routes. The costs associated with using Djibouti's port added another layer of complexity. Transit fees, handling charges, and transportation costs all contributed to making imports and exports more expensive for Ethiopia. These added expenses put a strain on the nation's resources and made its products less competitive in the global market. In January 2024, Ethiopia's pursuit of alternative port access took a significant step forward with an agreement with Somaliland. Somaliland, a self-declared republic that broke away from Somalia in 1991, offered Ethiopia a potential solution to its maritime dilemma. The agreement, which granted Ethiopia access to the port of Berbera, was seen as a win-win for both nations. For Ethiopia, the agreement promised to reduce its dependence on Djibouti and provide an alternative route for its imports and exports. The port of Berbera, strategically located on the Gulf of Aden, offered a shorter and potentially more cost-effective route for Ethiopian goods. The agreement also included provisions for Ethiopia to establish a naval base in Berbera, further solidifying its presence on the Red Sea. The agreement with Somaliland, however, was met with fierce opposition from Somalia. Somalia, which considers Somaliland a breakaway region, viewed the agreement as a violation of its sovereignty and territorial integrity. The diplomatic fallout was swift and severe, plunging relations between Ethiopia and Somalia to a new low. Somalia's reaction to the Ethiopia-Somaliland agreement was swift and uncompromising. The Somali government condemned the agreement as illegal and a direct affront to its sovereignty. Mogadishu accused Ethiopia of interfering in its internal affairs and undermining its efforts to assert control over Somaliland. In a show of its displeasure, Somalia took the drastic step of expelling the Ethiopian ambassador from Mogadishu. This unprecedented move signaled a significant deterioration in diplomatic relations between the two countries. Somalia also withdrew its own representative from Addis Ababa, further deepening the rift. The diplomatic fallout extended beyond the immediate region. The African Union, of which both Ethiopia and Somalia are members, expressed concern over the escalating tensions. The international community urged both sides to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue to resolve the dispute peacefully. Section 5. A Cold War on the horizon. Tensions escalate. The diplomatic standoff between Ethiopia and Somalia quickly escalated into a war of words and military posturing. Both sides accused each other of provocations and warmongering, raising fears of a return to conflict in the volatile Horn of Africa region. Ethiopia, determined to protect its interests, deployed troops and heavy weaponry to its border with Somalia. The move was seen as a warning to Mogadishu not to interfere with its plans in Somaliland. Ethiopia also increased its military presence in Berbera, signaling its commitment to the agreement with Somaliland. Somalia, for its part, vowed to defend its territorial integrity at all costs. Mogadishu accused Ethiopia of expansionist ambitions and warned that it would not hesitate to use force to prevent the dismemberment of Somalia. Section 6. Egypt enters the fray. A new alliance emerges. As tensions between Ethiopia and Somalia escalated, Egypt entered the fray, further complicating the regional dynamics. Egypt, which has its own maritime interests in the Red Sea, viewed Ethiopia's growing influence in the region with suspicion. In a move that sent shockwaves through the Horn of Africa, Egypt and Somalia signed a security agreement in August 2024. The agreement, which included provisions for Egypt to supply Somalia with weapons and military training, was widely seen as a direct challenge to Ethiopia's regional ambitions. The Egypt-Somalia Security Pact raised concerns that the dispute over Somaliland could draw in external actors, potentially igniting a wider conflict in the Horn of Africa. The agreement also highlighted the strategic importance of the Red Sea and the growing competition among regional powers for influence over this vital waterway. Section 7. Turkey to the rescue. A brokered peace. As tensions in the Horn of Africa reached a boiling point, Turkey, a country with growing influence in the region, stepped in to mediate a resolution. Turkey, which enjoys good relations with both Ethiopia and Somalia, recognized the urgent need to de-escalate the situation and prevent a full-blown conflict. In a diplomatic breakthrough, Turkey brokered an agreement between Ethiopia and Somalia in December 2024. The agreement, which was hailed as a victory for diplomacy, granted Ethiopia access to the Red Sea through Somali ports. In return, Ethiopia agreed to scale back its military presence in Somaliland and respect Somalia's territorial integrity. The Turkish-mediated agreement was a testament to the power of diplomacy and the importance of dialogue in resolving complex international disputes. The agreement provided a face-saving solution for both Ethiopia and Somalia, allowing them to step back from the brink of conflict and chart a new course towards cooperation. Section 8. Charting a new course. The implications of the Somalia Agreement. The Turkish-mediated agreement between Ethiopia and Somalia marked a turning point in the diplomatic saga surrounding Ethiopia's quest for port access. The agreement, while not a complete resolution to all outstanding issues, offered a path towards normalization of relations and a framework for future cooperation. For Ethiopia, the agreement provided a much-needed alternative to its heavy reliance on Djibouti for port access. While the specifics of port utilization and transit fees still need to be ironed out through technical talks, the agreement signaled a willingness on both sides to find mutually beneficial solutions. This development had the potential to significantly impact Ethiopia's trade dynamics, offering new avenues for imports and exports. The agreement also had implications for Somalia, which, despite its internal challenges, demonstrated its ability to assert its sovereignty and play a constructive role in regional affairs. By securing Ethiopia's commitment to respect its territorial integrity, Somalia gained a diplomatic victory and strengthened its position in future negotiations regarding Somaliland. Section 9. The future of Ethiopia's maritime ambitions. The Turkish brokered agreement between Ethiopia and Somalia has ushered in a new chapter in the Horn of Africa's geopolitical landscape. While challenges remain, the agreement offers a glimmer of hope for greater stability and cooperation in a region often marred by conflict and mistrust. For Ethiopia, the agreement represents a significant step towards achieving its long-held ambition of securing diversified and reliable access to the sea. The successful implementation of the agreement's provisions, including the establishment of clear operational procedures for Ethiopian cargo transit through Somali ports, will be crucial in determining its long-term viability. The agreement also presents an opportunity for Ethiopia and Somalia to rebuild their strained relations and forge a new era of cooperation. By focusing on shared economic interests and regional stability, both countries stand to gain from enhanced trade, investment, and diplomatic engagement. The success of this endeavor, however, will depend on sustained commitment from both sides to overcome past grievances and build a future based on mutual trust and respect.